And welcome back to Straight Talk. Just before the break, obviously we're talking about the tax issue. And one of the things I was saying is there was a bigger issue, and as a consumer, and not as an owner, why, if at Bully's and some of the other gas stations, if you're not being charged the tax, why am I still paying the same as everybody else?
Because in the court case, if they're not paying it, the court issue a court order stopping Quebec from assessing them taxes. And if they collect it the way they're supposed to, it's going to be a backdoor assessment and it will jeopardize the case.
The thing, look at it, in Ontario, and this has always got me because I used to live in Akwesasne back in the 70s. And there, you had gas stations, say, on the island. And you either had one of two cards. They had a card system in order to get the exemption initially. I mean, one was through the bank council, and the other one was through, it was a blue card or whatever, and the other one was a red card you got through the Longhouse. And if you went and you gassed up and you had your card, then you didn't pay, the tax or a portion of the tax. So. And that applied, and that continues to my knowledge, although I think now that's been replaced with an Ontario issued card.
But
Whether they still take the Longhouse, I'm not sure. But it applied across Ontario. And so the question was, what's different about Quebec that when you come to Kahnawake, you got to pay the tax? And of course, we talked about this a little bit before the program. The perception has been, at least, is that the gas stations are de facto taxing the consumers, the people from town, because of charging us essentially the same as we pay off the territory minus a few cents.
But anyway, the thing is I know it's there's so much, but for the regular person out there who's watching the show, we can talk about the taxes and we can talk about everything else. And I mean, I wish we had time to do the whole show on the taxing, but we don't. The questions that people are asking is, why am I still paying this much, the same as amount as everybody else, and why am I not getting the discount right away, regardless of that, if the taxes aren't paid? That's the whole thing. And there's a history behind that a lot of people don't know.
Because it's still in court, they're still trying to fight for all the taxes to have it taken off. And if we jump on their first offer, all right, we're going to give you to GST and provincial, are we going to get the rest of it?
But isn't it right if, I don't know what year it was. It was probably I'm thinking the early 90s or the late 80s that gas was cut off?
94, I believe, is when they tried to cut
They
it
closed off the pumps.
And the reason for that was?
Because it was affecting the business outside. They're going to say,
Yes.
that's the constituency will be, and the pressure is that, okay, so if we give you guys a gas tax-free and we don't have some control over the pricing, it's all about price parity.
Yes,
That's
is.
when that comes up. And it says, well, our guys out here are losing their shirts. They're losing their, and that's votes to us.
Yeah, but is it price parity? Because if you go to Huntington, if you go to Valleyfield, if you go to other parts of Quebec, they're cheaper than here. So where's your price parity?
No, but you understand basically what I'm talking
Yeah.
about, okay? I mean, I'll
But
grant
you can't
you,
compare-
I'll grant you
They're
that
talking
there's a
about the
huge
surrounding
discussion about
communities,
difference.
you know?
Yeah, but
You
is
pay
it
different price of gas on the highway.
per barrel cheaper here or?
No,
in
that's
Valleyfield or?
that's relative to the whole.
If it's
the whole
price parity,
industry.
then it should be all over.
Yeah, but that's
Not
relative
just
to-
by region or
That's
zone.
relative to the whole industry,
Sure.
though. I mean, I took a trip to Windsor, Ontario, and the price on the highway, is highway robbery compared to if you buy it in town.
So you talk about price parity. Where's the price parity?
No, but listen, but we're not fighting. We're just saying that
Yes.
those are the issues that get brought up.
Yes, it
And
is.
because they make it issues of that. They made issues of that about cigarettes in Akwesasne, about gas in Akwesasne, in New York State. They've made it that wherever they go, and they made it here. They made it here in '94 when they closed off the pumps. Because we came down
Attempted
to.
to.
Right? They did. That's clear.
And the issue there is what you're saying. And everything is, as far as I'm aware, is geographical. So gas prices, although you're paying the same amount for gas across the board, everybody's gas prices are based upon the person or the community next to them. They try to stay as close as they can as far as the gas is concerned. For us, if you look at 132 where Bully's gas station is, it's going to be a different price than if you look on 138. Because on Bully's side, they're following Seco Stana area for gas, and if you're looking on 138 side,
Right.
they're following Chateauguay. So that's where the difference is. And out of the community, you're setting the prices for in the community, because we can only stay within a few cents difference from them. And that was the problem that we had if it was in 94.
Yes.
Is that the outsides were complaining because we were dropping it, 8-10 cents more, and they were losing all that business because people were coming here. And then they were cutting off the supplies and threatened to pull their permits. So that was the whole reason why a lot of people don't know that or don't hear it, and that's the reason. And it's not, unfortunately, we're paying for it now, and we've always paid for it because of we don't set those prices. If the gas stations actually had put the gas at what they want or lower it for us, they'll shut them down or they won't supply
Yeah,
them, and
well,
then
yeah,
and then there's none.
You control the debate about it. You control it because look, this is also political, right?
Yes,
It's
it
political because outside they're going to say, and they're going to argue with their own constituencies and say,
And
and
they
say
do.
to us, look, we're not saying you guys shouldn't get your taxes off, okay? But we have to protect the interests of our citizens too. And this is why we need to know. We have no problem with all your Indian people getting the tax off. But our citizens should still be paying the tax, and you should be still collecting it because it's going to have an impact on those other guys. So that's what we want to know.
Well,
What
you do open
percentage
the
of
door
your
again to
customers,
another argument.
right?
Our
Right?
citizens versus their citizens.
No.
Well, how are our politicians protecting us?
That's the question.
And
That's the
that brings
question.
that brings up another issue is because like the gas station owners is private.
Yes.
And so should we have our government or our community representations, like there's difference.
And not only that,
You know?
all the gas stations in town are privately owned.
Exactly.
How many are outside? So who controls the gas price?
Right.
It's
And it
not
should
the
be a
mom and pop
should
stores,
it be the
it's the
political
big
issue?
companies.
Or should it be the
No,
companies?
wait a bit. But yeah, it should be political. But the council as a political body that declares it's a government that exists of the day, if you will, all the time I hear that. But today we're talking about gas.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about taxes on gas. Okay, but we're talking about taxes
In
in
general.
general,
Yeah.
and what the council is
The
not doing.
implications are huge.
Not doing, and what in fact are they doing to backdoor some things through regulatory laws and so on? Because they're turning it into permits and everything else. Okay, they turn it into whether you can have a sign on the highway and stuff like that. But so what are they doing? They released an announcement that this is coming into effect as though it's some big coup. Okay, and it has nothing to
never
do with
have been.
anything that they've done. Okay, internally they admit they don't. None of them sees what the big picture is. They
Not at
lack
all.
in talent and expertise. I mean, that's according to their own internal review. So what are they going to do for taxes here? They're going to implement some taxes. They're going to allow for some. That's why I talked about things like we're just talking about like donuts. Come on, seriously, donuts? Well, yes, seriously. I mean, what did they do? Because I'm afraid that was an individual who said, whatever I need to do to get Tim Hortons in here, I'm going to assure them. And I know that there's legislation from the government that says, Yes.
but then it's private business as well, because the private business person, like how far are we going to allow our own individual rights to be able to be controlled by government? And if we give that into government, saying, okay, you're gonna negotiate these like regulations and taxes and all that stuff, but at the same time, like we're turning around saying, no, it's a private business, is mine. I'm putting my money into it, so I'm gonna do the negotiation. So like that brings up those issues as well. Who's right? Who's wrong here?
Okay, and when does Chrissy have the right to say, "You wait a minute, Mike, you can't negotiate that
that's
on
what
my
we're
behalf.
talking-
You're
but
negotiating
that's-
that on my behalf."
And that's what we're talking about. And then it comes down to like all the gas owners getting together and talking about saying like what is going on between all of them, unifying together, at least discussing these things. And right now there's just too many different factions. Like
And most of them are on board for the court case,
Yeah.
so it's
And
it's
basically what
working.
it comes down to as a community member, what am I going to get out of it? Seriously.
What did you put into it?
You know what I mean? Hey, I'm a member. I'm a member of
Yes,
this
you're a
community.
member, but
like-
your
like I
rights,
said,
you have to fight for them. They're not free.
I know.
You have to fight for those
you know,
rights.
I realize that, but you
And
know,
should the burden of your rights be put on the gas stations?
Well, let me ask you something. If you have to,
I mean,
you
I'm
have to
not,
fight
I'm not
for your
arguing
rights.
here.
For your rights, you have to
No,
fight,
but
yes.
Okay.
if you have to fight, well, there's an argument to be made that if you don't have to fight for it, I mean, government doesn't perceive you as having any rights, except those.
That's their perception.
It's an
Yeah, I
interesting,
do.
it's an
Yeah.
interesting
And we're
discussion
enforcing them.
You know.
and debate, and these are the kind of discussions that we're going to get back to in just a little bit. In the meantime, you're watching Straight Talk. We'll be right back right after this.